We're raising up higher. The bottles up, the lower the top, the sonic get right. The time of a life. It's coming alive.
May I have your attention, please?
Main activities for Jacob Berhad. Jacob Berhad is an investment holding company which did several activities that under cooperation with their subsidiaries like UI Wood, Digital Furniture, InStyle Sofa, Honsor Jacob Cabinetry, Pan Packaging, PT3 Mutiara Nusantara, Jacob Green Energy, Jacob Engineering and Construction, Jacob Trading and Jacob Limited. So this is the divisions that have under Jacob's company, which is furniture, packaging, processing rubber wood, renewable energy, construction, transportation, marketing, trading construction and property letting. So each divisions have a different task. Like furniture is more to provide furniture component to local furniture manufacturer like sofa set, wood dining set, bedroom set and so on. Meanwhile, packaging is more to corrugated boards and carton to the furniture business. So we can say that the main activities for Jacob's Berhad is more to furniture because it's about 60%. Jacob's Berhad Gate is come from the furniture business.
Hi everyone, I'm Avilatina Ramachandran, making number 287525. Now I was presenting about main activities in Jack Berhad. At first, the company was named as Infotech Microsoft Senior Berhad and changed to Infotech Alliance Senior Berhad before named as Jack Berhad on 16 June 2014. Now, Jack Berhad is standing as investment holding company with 6 different segments. Those are manufacturing, trading, services, property solution, software maintenance, and property development. The main activity of Jack Berhad is software publisher, which acts as computer system design. The company also has collaboration with Charing Metal Jain Berhad as a subsidiary company in manufacturing, with activities of recycling, refinery of ferrous and non-ferrous production.
So this is financial ratio that we use to measure in financial statement for Jack Berhad and Jacob Berhad. So the first one is liquidity ratios. So what is liquidity ratios? Liquidity ratios is a measurement that used by the company or organization to see their ability whether they are able to pay off the short-term obligation or not. Usually, it used by the creditor or lender whether they can give that company or organization to owe them the money and the capital. So liquidity ratio is a half-tree component which is cash ratio, current ratio and quick ratio. But for this assignment, we just use two ratio which is current ratio and quick ratio.
Assalamualaikum, my name is Fiti Nuhuzani Shawanamita Hamdan. My matrix number is 287657. So what is activity ratios? Activity ratio is a financial ratio used by a company to measure the effectiveness of the company's ability to use and sell or convert various operating assets on its balance sheet. So there is 3 activity ratios, which is inventory turnover, total asset turnover and account receivable turnover. So first, inventory turnover. The inventory turnover ratio compares the cost of goods sold to the average value of inventory throughout an accounting period. Jacob's inventory turnover ratio, which is used to calculate cost of goods sold, is higher than JAG. According to the analysis, both companies compute ratios more than 1 times. Inventory turnover is the ratio by which a company replaces inventory due to sales over a given time period. The higher the inventory turnover, the better the company replaces its goods. This is because they sell items quickly and their products are in high demand. So for the formula of inventory turnover is cost of goods sold divided by average inventory. Second, total asset turnover. The total asset turnover ratio compares a company's sale to its asset base. The asset turnover ratio is computed by dividing a company's sale or revenues by its assets. A low asset turnover ratio typically indicates surplus industrial capacity, ineffective inventory management, and inefficient tax collection systems. In 2020, Jacob Berhad has a total asset turnover ratio greater than 1, indicating that it has higher net sales than average total assets. From the ratio, we can conclude that companies with higher turnover of total assets can operate with fewer assets and require less borrowing and working capital than their less efficient competitors. As a result, its stockholders must receive a higher return. JAG company, on the other hand, only recorded less than 1.00, that is 0.0491. For the formula of asset turnover is net sales divided by average asset. So third, account receivable turnover. The accounts receivable turnover ratio is a bookkeeping metric used by entrepreneurs to compare total sales income to actual customer payments. The accounts receivable turnover ratio shows how many times receivables were collected over a given accounting period. is an important metric for determining a company's financial and operational success. To avoid cash flow problems, many companies set aside money for accounts receivable. A higher account receivable turnover indicates a well-managed company, rigorous credit standards, or a cash-based operating strategy. The account receivables turnover at Jacob Berhad Company is 8.0920. JAG Berhad Company, on the other hand, has an account receivable turnover of 1.3013. According to the data, Jacob Berhad Company has higher collections than JAG Berhad Company. So the formula of account receivable turnover is net sales divided by average account receivables.
Hello, my name is Aisha binti Awam and my matrix number is 287595. I will continue my group presentation. So, today I will present about profitability ratio. What is profitability ratio? A profitability ratio is a metric for determining the ability of the company to make a profit. The profitability ratio formula will can show a company performance and compare it to other competitors in similar situation. So, what type of profitability ratio? First thing first is profit margin on sale. The ratio consists of net income per net sales to gather information about a company's financial flexibility. We can calculate the net income divided by net sales. Second part is return on asset, ROA. The ROA calculates how efficiently it uses assets to generate profit. The ratio consists of net income per average total asset.
Now I will continue presenting analysis of leverage ratio in Jag Berhad and Jacob Berhad. Leverage ratio consists of debt to asset ratio and debt to equity ratio. First, debt to asset ratio. This ratio can be used to measure companies' short-term liabilities and long-term liability is lesser or greater than asset. Based on the analysis, both company has ratio below than 1, which indicate Jag Berhad and Jacob Berhad has more assets than liabilities. Next, debt to equity ratio. In year 2020, Jag Berhad and Jacob Berhad has ratio less than 1, which indicate more equity than debt. Based on the analysis, we can conclude that Jag Berhad has 30 cents for every 1 ringgit of equity, meanwhile Jacob Berhad has 40 cents for every 1 ringgit of equity.
Current ratio. Current ratio is used to see the company capacity to pay short-term or 1-year obligation. So if that company able to get more than 1 times current ratio, it means that the company can cover or pay all the 1-year obligation. So the formula to find the current ratio is current asset divided with the current liability. So in year 2020, as we can see in that slide, Jag Berhad got 3.74 times and Jacob Berhad got 2.49 times in current ratio. So it means that both company is able to pay all the liabilities that they have, like short-term debts, income tax, account payables, and not payables. So as we can see, Jag Berhad has more current asset more than Jacob Berhad, which means Jag Berhad also has to pay a lot of money to their current liabilities more than Jacob Berhad. So the next one is quick ratio. Quick ratio is used to measure the capacity of company to pay the short-term obligation with the most liquid asset. So what's meant by the most liquid asset? It means that some asset that easily convert to cash, like cash, account receivable, and marketable securities. So the formula to find the quick ratio is quick asset divided with the current liabilities. So if company have 1 times quick ratio, it means that the company have enough liquid asset to pay and cover the current liabilities that they have in that year. So as we can see in this slide, Jag Berhad and Jacob Berhad, both of the companies got more than 1 times quick ratio, which is Jag Berhad got 1.65 times and Jacob Berhad got 1.77 times. It shows that both of companies have enough liquid asset to cover and pay all the current liabilities and the short-term obligation that they have in that year, which is in year 2020.
Hi, my name is Fitrun Hazim Shawani binti Hamdan and my matrix number is 287656. Activity ratio comparison is important for each company in evaluating a business operating efficiency by analyzing fixed assets, inventories, and account receivables. The rate at which a company exchanges inventory for a period of sales is called inventory turnover. A well-managed inventory level implies that the company's sales are on track and that costs are in track. In this study, we shall compare JAG Berhad activity ratio to that Jacob Berhad. The inventory turnover ratio can be used to calculate a company's cost of goods sold and average inventory. According to the analysis, Jacob Berhad's inventory turnover ratio in 2020 is 5.56 to 1 times, whereas JAG Berhad's inventory turnover ratio is 1.8566 times. This demonstrates that JAG Berhad can buy and sell goods 5.56 to 1 times per year, while Jacob Berhad can buy and sell inventory 1.8566 times per year. If the inventory turnover ratio is high, inventory turnover is swift, indicating the company can manage its inventory well. As a result, Jacob Berhad is more efficient in inventory management than JAG Berhad since the company's inventory turnover ratio is higher. This means that for every RM1 of average total assets used by the company, it may earn 1.2358 in net sales. If the total asset turnover ratio is higher, it indicates that the company is more efficient in using assets to generate net sales. And if the total asset turnover ratio is lower, it indicates that the company is not using total assets efficiently to generate net sales. In conclusion, Jacob Berhad used total assets more efficiently than JAG Berhad since the company generates greater net sales. According to the calculation, JAG Berhad's accounts receivable turnover ratio is 1.3013 times, while Jacob Berhad's account receivable turnover ratio is 8.0920 times. This determines that JAG Berhad can collect debt from customers fully 1.3013 times per year, while Jacob Berhad can collect debt from customers fully 8.0920 times per year. If the account receivable turnover ratio is high, the company is good at handling accounts receivable. As a result, Jacob Berhad is better at managing accounts receivable than JAG Berhad since the ratio of account receivable turnover is higher.
In this assignment, we have to make a comparison between profit margin on sales, JAG Berhad Company and Jacob Berhad Company. As we can see, profit margin on sales, JAG Berhad Company greater than Jacob Berhad Company. It shows when JAG Berhad Company competes 0.06 and Jacob Berhad Company competes 0.05. This shows that JAG Berhad has good profit growth. We also can make comparison between these two companies when JAG Berhad Company has expanded revenue and net sales greater than Jacob Berhad Company. As an improvement, to get better higher profit margin on sales, company need to increase the total revenue, such as through selling more goods or service, or by increasing prices and decreasing the total expense will reduce the operational costs or finding cheaper sources for raw materials. Next, comparison of return on asset, JAG Berhad Company and Jacob Berhad Company. Refer to the table, we can see that ROE JAG Berhad Company is 0.6081, less than return on asset Jacob Berhad Company, which is 1.6860. This shows that Jacob Berhad Company more effective in utilizing assets to generate a new profit after tax. Other than that, even though Jacob Berhad Company has higher ROE, but JAG Berhad Company has greater net income and average total asset. To get higher ROE, company must reduce assets costs by reducing inventory and equipment costs. The company also can increase revenue by improving customer services. Furthermore, the company can cut the expense by reducing the number of employees to improve productivity.
Now, let's move to comparison of leverage ratio between JAG Berhad and Jacob Berhad. Leverage ratio is important since a company can compare leverage ratio with competitors to find out the ability and flexibility of a company to pay off all the liabilities using asset or equity. First, let's compare debt to asset ratio of both companies. From the analysis, we know that both companies has ratio below than 1, even though JAG has more debt compared to Jacob, but both company ratio is like approximately 0.20 because the company itself holds more asset than debt. JAG Berhad has more debt because all their current liabilities and non-current liabilities is high, which is opposite to Jacob Berhad, that the company holds all liabilities in less amount. But both companies has high amount of asset in property, plant and equipment. JAG Berhad still can manage their high debt because the company has large amount of inventory compared to Jacob Berhad. Moving towards comparison in debt to equity ratio of JAG and Jacob Berhad. Based on the analysis, we can find that both companies has significantly different ratio. The ratio shows less than 1 because both companies has more equity than debt. But Jacob has more debt in every 1 ringgit because Jacob has less equity than JAG Berhad. Even JAG Berhad has minus 2,206,405 ringgit from owner's equity and Jacob has at 94,263 ringgit from shareholders' equity as reserve. But Bkaf has less share capital amount compared to Jack Berhad. Least Bkaf has less equity than Jack Berhad.